Welcome to the podcast of Philippe. In this deep dive, we're diving into the tech job market, but not just any part of it. We're focusing on you guys, the senior IT professionals out there.
Right.
We're going to be kind of like challenging some assumptions and maybe uncovering some surprising advantages you might have just by, well, by having that experience. We'll compare and contrast what it looks like to be looking for a job in this sector in France and North America.
Okay.
Specifically, we'll be talking about the opportunities and hurdles in each of those regions.
Sounds good.
And we'll look at how AI is changing the game for seasoned professionals like you. So if this is your first time with us, be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of our future deep dives.
It's interesting, right, how the whole conversation around experience in tech is shifting. For the longest time, it was all about youth and having those cutting edge skills.
Yeah.
But now that companies are really having to grapple with maintaining all of these complex legacy systems, the demand for, those seasoned professionals who actually understand them, well, it's rising.
Yeah, and this is where I think that sort of French paradox comes in, right? Because France has this strong legal framework that's designed to protect older workers, which sounds great on the surface.
Yeah.
But some of the sources that we were looking at suggest that this actually creates a hesitancy among some companies to hire senior professionals.
Yeah, that's right. The concern is, for some of these companies that these legal protections might make, future staffing changes difficult. So this coupled with maybe even just a perceived preference for those younger recruits can make the job market in France, I think, feel pretty daunting for experienced professionals.
It's interesting because it seems like this is a situation where companies might say one thing but do another, right?
Right.
Because even though there might be this hesitancy to hire senior professionals, they at the same time desperately need their expertise, especially when we're talking about those legacy systems like mainframes.
Yeah.
These are things that are just so critical to how businesses operate, and younger professionals they often just don't have that depth of understanding.
Yeah, it's classic, right? It's a classic example of supply and demand. The demand for expertise in these legacy systems is high,
Right.
but the supply, particularly among younger professionals, is low.
Right.
So that creates a real advantage for senior IT professionals. Suddenly all of those years of experience, well, it becomes a really valuable commodity.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's turn our attention now across the Atlantic over to North America. It seems like things are a little different over there.
Okay.
The research we did pointed to a significantly larger number of senior-level job postings, especially it seems like in the tech hubs in Canada. And we're seeing them looking for experienced professionals in fields like AI, finance, aerospace, really across the board.
Yeah, and that's fascinating. It kind of makes you wonder, right? Is this more open attitude toward seasoned professionals in the North American market? Or is it maybe driven by just the sheer speed of technological development that we're seeing in certain sectors? Because, companies need experienced professionals who can really adapt quickly and guide all of these changes.
Right.
It's an interesting question to consider.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the role of AI kind of comes into play.
Right.
Because it's often portrayed as this threat to jobs.
Right.
But for senior professionals, I actually think it could be a really powerful tool.
I think so too. The stuff that we read about how AI can personalize your job search, optimize your CV, and even help you prepare for interviews, it's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, there are some pretty incredible AI-powered platforms out there. Have you heard of JobScan?
I have, yeah.
So JobScan uses AI to analyze your CV and then suggest improvements that are tailored to specific job descriptions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then there's another one. It's called Razy.
Okay.
And it helps you create a CV that's visually appealing, but it's also ATS friendly.
Yeah.
So it stands out to those recruiters.
Okay, so these are tools that are really looking at kind of the nuts and bolts of your application material.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I think is really exciting is how AI can help senior professionals identify these emerging fields where their experience combined with maybe a few targeted new skills would be incredibly valuable.
Right.
Think about areas like AI ethics or AI architecture.
Yeah, it's not just about finding any job. It's about finding the right opportunity, right? Where you can really leverage those existing skills and continue to grow.
Exactly. And this brings us to, I think, another really important aspect of the job search, which is those specialized platforms, like lessduties.com, Choose Your Boss, and Shaman.
Yeah.
They were mentioned in a couple of the sources we looked at as being really, really helpful for IT professionals. And it seems like these platforms are specifically designed to connect IT professionals with the right opportunities.
Yeah.
And they often cater to specific niches within the tech sector.
Yeah, for sure. And don't overlook the power of just general job platforms, like Indeed or France Travail.
Right.
They often have a wealth of senior level IT positions, and you can filter specifically by experience level.
And then, of course, there are the more, I guess, traditional recruitment firms,
Yeah.
particularly those that specialize in IT.
Mm-hmm.
They can provide personalized support,
Uh-huh.
and they typically have access to a vast network of companies who are specifically looking for experienced professionals.
Yeah, it's really about utilizing a combination of resources and finding the approach that works best for you. Everybody's career journey is unique, and your job search strategy should reflect that.
Right. So far we've been talking a lot about the opportunities for senior IT professionals,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously there are challenges as well.
Of course.
The sources that we looked at, particularly those focused on France, they highlighted the fact that there are still some pretty persistent age-related biases
Yeah.
in the hiring process.
Yeah, it's a complex issue. Like even with those legal protections in place, unconscious bias, I mean, it can still really influence hiring decisions.
Yeah, it's easy to imagine situations where recruiters just make assumptions.
Right.
Maybe they assume that senior professionals are less adaptable or less tech savvy,
Right. Which just isn't true.
which isn't true at all. Yeah.
No, not at all.
So it seems like in these situations, it's really critical to showcase, your adaptability
Mm-hmm.
and your commitment to continuous learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like make sure that your CV and your online profiles really reflect that willingness to stay up to date with those latest technologies and industry trends.
Right. And don't be afraid to highlight those soft skills
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
The ones that you've developed over the years, leadership, problem solving, communication. These are all things that are just, so highly sought after by employers, regardless of age.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating how your experience translates into tangible benefits for the company. How you can not only do the job, but also lead, mentor, and just, contribute to a positive and innovative work environment.
Yeah. I think it really is about kind of reframing that whole narrative.
Yeah.
Because instead of seeing age as this liability, it's really, I think it's important to recognize it as an asset.
Right.
I mean, your experience is such a valuable resource in today's rapidly evolving tech landscape.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, companies need your expertise. They need your strategic thinking. They need your ability to navigate these complex challenges.
So to all the senior IT professionals out there listening, don't let anybody tell you that your age is a disadvantage. Embrace that. Embrace lifelong learning,
Yeah.
Stay adaptable, and don't be afraid to leverage the power of AI
Right.
and those specialized platforms that we talked about. I really think the opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
And with the right approach, I think you can find a role that not only utilizes your expertise, but it lets you thrive.
Yeah. It's not just about finding any job.
Right.
It's about finding the right fit for you and your future, a role where you can continue to learn, continue to grow, and really make a real impact.
That's it for our deep dive into the tech job market for senior IT professionals. I hope that this episode has given you some valuable insights and maybe even just a renewed sense of optimism.
Yeah.
Remember, your experience is an asset. Embrace those challenges, seize the opportunities, and never stop exploring what's possible.
Yeah, the future is yours to shape.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of tech.